Hey, what's up everybody? Tony Avitio, Timeshare Simplified. I want to teach you how to actually make a trade through Interval International. I'll do one on RCI as well, but Interval is the one I know the best because I use it the most because I own mine with Marriott, so that's their preferred provider, and it's the one I like the most as well just because of the quality of the property. So if you've heard my story, when I first bought my timeshare when I was 21 and I worked in the industry, and then I had bought it, and then I'd call up and I'd be like, hey, I want to go to Newport Beach. They go, it's not available. I want to go to Lake Tahoe for the 4th of July, see my buddies, not available. I want to go to Hawaii, not available. I want to go here next month, not. And every time I would call Interval, I would never be able to get what I wanted. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just because I own the jockey club or whatever. But when we would tell people in our presentation that you buy Polo Tower as your jockey club, you could go anywhere you want, anytime. And I just did not find that to be the case, because what was wrong was I was doing it the exact wrong way. So once I met the owner of an exchange company, I met the owner of, I don't know if he was the owner or like the president or something, but there's this company as well, the San Fran, it's SFX Resorts.com. Actually, if you've never heard of it, there's an alternate exchange company to Interval, and excuse me, and then they have all 5-star timeshare resorts from both Interval and II that you can follow. So this is another exchange company you can use, and they'll usually give you 2 or 3 weeks for your 1 week. But anyways, Interval is still the best. Just wanted to throw that in there. Okay. So now there's 2 ways to trade. There's ways if you own points, and then there's ways, you know, if you own weeks the old way. So I'm gonna kind of the points part. If you just own points with Marriott or Hyatt or wherever, it's going to be a little different, or it's going to be the same, but you're actually going to skip step 1. So the most important part of trading is you got to give up something good to get something good. So trading's like baseball cards. A lot of people don't realize. And for like 20 years, the reason people were so frustrated with timeshare is people thought, oh, I bought a red week in Branson, Missouri. I'm going to trade for a red week in Hawaii. It did not work like that. You did not, if you own a red week in Branson, it did not trade for a red week in Hawaii. They said it should work like that, but if you read the paperwork and stuff, it did not work like that. And actually, RCI got sued for, I think it was like $200 or $300 million because people thought that's how it worked, and they made it kind of made it appear that way, but it didn't work like that. So they actually got sued, and that's when they changed their whole program, where now when you deposit your old timeshare week, they issue you, I forget what they call them. They're trading points. They're a trading point index. So now if you put in your Branson week in Missouri, you know, they'll say, okay, that's worth 15 or 20 points. Okay, you want to trade to the Hilton Hawaiian Village in Hawaii? Well, that's 50 points. So it would take 3 of your Branson weeks to trade to that one. And they didn't they didn't tell people that for like 20 years. I mean, they kind of did, but it was, if you were like me and you didn't really read the instructions or look through it, a lot of people, you paid $15, $20, $30, $40,000 for these things. You think you should just be able to pick up the phone and go, hey, I want to go here. Just do it, you know, like a travel agent or something. And you know, timeshare is a great value. It's awesome value, especially if you're using it and you trade it right and you get where you want. I'll show you how good of a value it has been for me. Just so you know, I know what I'm talking about, and I use my trades all the time. So look at, these are my trades going back to 2014. So I traded my studio at Timber Lodge for a 2-bedroom at Timber Lodge at my own place. I traded a 2-bedroom for a Desert Springs 2-bedroom at the Marriott. I traded my 2-bedroom at the Timber Lodge for the 4 Seasons Residence Club 2-bedroom. I traded my studio side of my unit for a 2-bedroom at Marriott Summer Watch. I traded a 2-bedroom for a 2-bedroom at the Hyatt in Sedona, Arizona. I traded my studio for a 2-bedroom at the Marriott Newport Beach. I traded my 2-bedroom for the 4 Seasons 2-bedroom. Timber Lodge Studio to 2-bedroom Marriott Newport Beach. Timber Lodge 1-bedroom to a Shadow Ridge Enclaves 2-bedroom Marriott. a studio to a Marriott Summit Watch 2-bedroom. And this isn't just because I mean, I prefer the Marriott resorts. I just love the brand. They're such awesome company. And the Marriott Timber Lodge 2-bedroom to the Four Seasons 2-bedroom. I like the nicer ones because that's where you actually, here's another studio, 2-bedroom Timber Lodge, you know. So I always trade my smaller units for bigger units. Now they did start making you pay, you know, like if you upgrade, you know, if you trade your studio for a 2-bedroom, you have to pay like a $200 upgrade fee or whatever, but you're getting a ton of nice units. And that's where you get your money out of these timeshares, is stay in places that would normally cost a lot of money. Like if you're just using it to like trade to Vegas, you know, that's not that great a trade, because you can buy rooms in Vegas for super cheap, even really nice ones. So if you want to get money out of it, let me give you an example here I had pulled up. Okay, so here's the Marriott Streamside. It's a beautiful resort. I've driven by here. I usually stay at the Ritz-Carlton one there, and this Marriott one is equally as nice. Here, see, it's right here. Marriott does a good job. They're all 2-bedrooms, and this doesn't matter whether you're going to Hilton, Hyatt, Disney. It always works the same. But here, I pulled up. If you went to the Vail Marriott Streamside, look, it's sold out. Let's see, a few availability. So the weeks I put in there. Oh, I should have checked that a little further. Let's see what weeks they do have available. Okay, so it's completely sold out now for March. April. Oh, probably because COVID, they don't. Let's see if it has. Okay, so here's an example. Like, say you wanted to go in the summer. It's $2,700 to book there at the leisure rate. Okay, so say you pick this one. Okay, the total is $2,895 to stay there if you were to pay cash. So the reason trading is a good value with your timeshare is if your maintenance fee is only $1,000, well, now you're trading into a week that would normally cost you $2,000-$3,000. If you trade into that resort during the winter, you know that same room is probably going to be $4,000 to $6,000. So now, even though your maintenance might be expensive, $1,000 a week, $800, $1,500. I think mine's like $1,800 at the Marriott. Where you get your money out of it is trading into these really nice places that cost a lot more money. All right, so first thing you do is you got to find out what weeks you own. So like, here's my Marriott account, and so I own 3 weeks. I own this Ocean Point one, Timber Lodge one. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and then I own this Timber Lodge 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Okay, so the one I'd want to trade this with would be, I'd go here. I'd go use my week. Okay, now before you do this, actually, yeah, here's what you want to do before you do this. Okay, so like in Marriott, and whether you own with Hyatt or whatever, they all work pretty much the same. So you got to do occupy. And then you got to put which size unit you want, full villa, so you can either do the master suite or the studio. Okay, so you can book yourself, but you need to know what week you need to book. So when I met the owner of the exchange company, I was like, how come nobody can ever trade these damn things anywhere? And he's like, look, dude, he's like, you can trade them. He's like, you just have to do it a certain way. He's like, first off, you know, you have to, if you want to go to a nice resort, call it a Mercedes, you know, you can't trade your Hyundai for a Mercedes. You have to have something good. So the first thing you need to do is get a good week. Now, how do you determine that? Well, like Marriott has this education section, and you go to vacation option or helpful tools. You go to helpful tools, and then you go to the resort calendar, and then you can bring up your calendars. You can also just Google the name of your resort for the corresponding year, and it'll pull up they usually just vary by like a day or two, but all the weeks are always the same. Okay, so I own a platinum summer week that I want to trade. So I'm allowed to book weeks 23 through 39, and then I own a gold week, which I can book weeks 15 through 22. All right, now I'm not really going to be able to book any of these right now because I don't think I have availability then, but it's just for an example. All right, so here's the directory. So we'll go, so first thing you want to do before you book the week with whoever you're trading with, you want to go to, you want to go to interval, all right? And they put the chart right on here. I always thought it was like the weather or something. Not that bright. Ask my wife. Okay, so you go to pick your resort. Then you go over here to the travel demand index. Okay. Now I always thought this was the greatest demand based on the weather or something, but it's not. This little scale at the bottom, 50 to 150, that's how they rank your week according to what you give them. Okay, so the farther it is to the right, the more valuable your week is. All right, so if I'm allowed to book weeks 15 through 22, or I'm allowed to book weeks 40 through 48. Okay, so let me go over here. So 15. Oh, now here's the thing too. On these charts, like some years are different than others. So like if there's a different color box than blue, go down to the chart and it'll say, oh, for 2021, it's different. Okay, so in the year 2021 and then the green's 2020. So like on 2020, week 15 was actually a really strong week in my season. Okay, they don't have week 2022 on here, so I don't think I could do it right this second, but so I'm allowed to book weeks 15 through, what was it, 22? 22, okay. 15 through 22. So far, week 22 is my best week that I'm going to be able to book in that season. All right? And then, what was the other weeks? Oh, shoot, sorry, bad memory. And then weeks 40 through 48. Okay, so weeks 40 through 48. So this is my best week during that time. So my best week to trade, my gold week, would be week 22. All right? Now, so the way it works is if you book this week, okay, your week's going to be worth whatever. Each one of these things must be worth like 10, 20, 30. No, like 5, 10, 15. So your week's going to be worth 110 points. So mine will be worth 110 points down here. Okay? Now, what does that mean? That means you book that week in your developer. So you book week 22. Okay? So week 22, you go over here. Let's see, can I zoom in on that? Okay, so you zoom in. Now, week 22 for the year 2022 is going to be June 3rd through the 10th, May 28th through June 4th, or May 29th through June 5th. Okay? So, the year right now I'm doing this as 2021. So, if I want to book these dates for the year 2022, I can only book 1 year out. So, what I need to do is this June, I can book 12 months out. So this June, or this, do the first one. So this May 28th, I'm going to call or go online to Marriott, and then I'm going to book it, the master suite, and then I'm going to book, and then I'm going to put the check-in dates, you know, after I put in all that stuff. Oh, I got to press continue. Okay. So you press continue. Please no. Okay, so please. Okay, so it's too early to do it, but you would just put in the dates there. So say it's May 28th this year, 2021. I would book May 28th check-in for the year 2022. Okay, and that would essentially lock me in week 22 for week 22. Now this year, 2020, I booked week 15. Because it was a better week. So week 15 was April 10th through the 17th. So last April of 2019, I booked April of 2020. All right. And then that gave me a way stronger week over here. So then you go down to the chart, and that week was probably worth 130. Okay. Now the reason that's important, whatever week you give them, whatever week your thing is worth over there, say it's 110, 120, and like some of them, so this other one I own, this Platinum Summer. Oh shoot, what happened? Cancel transaction. Okay, so this Platinum Summer week I own right here is weeks 23 through 39. All right, so you see this right here, Platinum Summer. So then if I go over here, now weeks 22 through 20, was it 39 or 29? Sorry. 39, okay. So weeks 39. So 22 through 39, all right? So look, the best weeks are over here. So look, I could book week 25 through 32 and be perfectly fine. So what I would want to do is go over to the chart. So I'd want to book week 25, so June 19th through August 28th. Okay, so let's for 2022. So anytime between June 17th or June 18th and August 28th is when I should book my week for my summer week. And because if I do that, then I will have unlimited trading power, okay? Because my week will be over here. So because whatever one you book, okay? And then if you're going to go trade it somewhere to like Hawaii or whatever, look at this. So if say I book this gold week, since that's what we're working on, week 22, and then that week's only worth 110, say. Okay, then I call up Interval and I deposit with them, or you can deposit it online now. So you can just go like your account, or you can just go exchange, and then you just put my units. And then once you book it with, say, Marriott or whoever, you can just go deposit unit and then put in the confirmation number, and then it'll be on request for, it'll be on, you'll have it input into the Interval system, and then you just need to pick where you want to go. Okay. All right. So where were we? Okay. Oh, okay. So once you deposit that week and you know what your week's worth, now you can try to figure out where you want to go. Okay. But say you're like, oh, I want to go to Hawaii and take my family to Hawaii. Okay. Go over to Maui or whatever. All right. Now, when you pick another resort, like say you're like, oh, I want to trade to the Hyatt. All right, you click it. First thing you want to do is you want to click on the travel demand index and look at almost all the weeks in Hawaii are worth more than my week in Lake Tahoe. Okay, so and wherever you're at, you can only trade for bubbles or dates that are to the left. Okay, so I could book any of these weeks. I could book weeks 17 through 21. Or I could book weeks 35 through 50, okay? So when I want to go on my vacation, I need to just be careful that I only pick weeks during those time periods. So wherever you're going, whether it's Europe, whether it's Mexico or whatever, you pick the week. When you put in your request, you need to pick weeks that are worth less than your week. Because if you're trying to go in the summertime, to Hawaii, but you booked your gold season week in Lake Tahoe, you're not going to have enough trading power to get in there. And they don't tell you that. They just go, the usual thing. You go, oh, I want to exchange and do a vacation exchange. And I want to go to, let's see, Hawaii. And I want to go, I want to take the kids sometime between May of 2021 and sometime between August 21 with the 2 kids. And you want to go up here. Oh, we couldn't match your destination. Okay, so let's say search all destinations. Okay, and then we'll say I'm going to use, and then you pick your week. So say I'll pick my week here. Okay, and then you pull up Hawaii. Let's see. Oh, well, there's some weeks available. Shoot, usually you never see any. Okay, look, here's one for May 1st through the 8th. Here's one May 2nd through the 9th at the Marriott Maui Ocean Club. It's a great property. So you could exchange that immediately. Okay, what usually happens though is like, look, there's no Hyatt on here. There's that brand new beautiful Hyatt resort they just built there. Okay, so there's 3 in an 8-month period in Hawaii. There's only 3 properties available. A 1-bedroom. There's no 2 bedrooms. Here's a studio, 1 bedroom, 1 bedroom. And so there's no 2 bedrooms. There's in 8 months in all those places in Hawaii, there's that few of rooms available. Okay. And the reason being, and the reason the guy told me, he's like, look, timeshare is like baseball cards. So somebody has to give up a week there for you to get that week. He's all, the likelihood of you going online or you calling up the exact moment, the exact week you want is available. It's not happening. It's like trying to find something in the ocean. It's just, there's just too many people want to go there and too many people request that. Okay. So if you are trying to go to interval and you're trying to just go exchange, I want to go to Hawaii anytime this year, you most likely will be like my last screen. Well, only a couple resorts show up, and that's where people get frustrated. And they go, oh, this stupid timeshare thing doesn't work, and you can't get anywhere, and you can never get in where you want. And that's what I thought too, because I never read the instructions. And so I'm just giving you the crib notes here. Okay, so almost never, 99% of the time, will you ever get what you want by searching for it for an exchange. Okay, so now you're like, okay, well, what do I do now? Okay. Well, what I would do is first come through here, pick the resorts you like. Like I like the nice one. So this one with this like flower deal, like here's the Hyatt. That's a beautiful property, HKB. So write down these little codes or remember. So say you're like, well, I like the nice one. So I don't care if I stay at Kaanapali Beach or I want the Marriott Maui. That one looks nice. Here's another Sansa Kawana. So go through these and see if there's ones you don't mind staying at. Here's, the Westin Kaanapali, the Westin Nani. Now, I would just pick the nice ones. So I would just pick the Westin Nani, how do we say that? The Westin Kaanapali. So I would write down these little codes. So I'd pick like 4 of these properties that I don't care if I stay at a Marriott, a Westin, or a Hyatt. So I would write down like the Hyatt codes and the Marriott codes, okay? And then what you do is you go, instead of going exchange and try to look for what's available, you're just going to put in a request. So you just go to your units, all right? Now, if you learn this trick, you will get what you want 95% of the time. I guarantee you. Look, you saw all those places I used this exact same system. I've never waited more than 2 weeks to get what I wanted, okay? So here's an unredeemed deposit. So all you do, go to your deposit that you placed. Look, last year I booked this one in July because I booked it for right after the 4th of July. So I have unlimited trading power. Oh, shoot, not that one. Place request. Okay, so then you do place request. Okay, then you pick travelers, 2 children, next. Okay, and I only want a 2-bedroom, so select which unit you want. Now, if you only want a 2-bedroom, only put a 2-bedroom. Okay, kitchen, yes, no. Okay, terms and conditions, accept that. Okay, all right. Now, now you just push the code in. So, oh shoot, I didn't write down those codes. So you can write, if you write down those codes, but you can also type in the name and you'll be like, okay, I want the Marriott here or the Marriott, you know, and the Hilton and the Marriott Phuket, you know. So pick, so like if you're going to Hawaii and you're like, well, I don't care if I stay at the Westin or the other Westin or the Marriott or the Hyatt. I'll stay at any of those 5. So put all those 5 on there. And then put what dates you want. You're like, well, I don't want to put, or I want to go anytime between, I'll go anytime between April 1st and August, okay? And then you just add those dates for those times, okay? And then it'll have your request there, all right? Request confirmation. So you click here. Now, here's what's going to happen. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so you place a request for what you want. Because what you want most likely is not going to be available. All right, and then you just go through, you accept it, press accept the terms and continue. Now, what's going to happen is the computer is going to search 24 hours a day for you, okay? Otherwise, you'd have to keep going on interval, like, 30 times a day to see if your Marriott and Hawaii comes up, which is not going to, because it goes to whoever's on the waiting list first. So they call it the place the request or the ongoing search. So put the resorts you want on there. Say, okay, I want the Westin, the Marriott, and the Hyatt. Put it on there like I just showed you. Put in the travel dates you want. Now, if you can only go at a certain time of the year, then only pick that date, but pick more resorts. Say, well, I can only go between June 14th and June 21st, because then my kids got football and the other one's got soccer and we only have a 2-week window. Well, I mean, if you can only pick that 1 week, then pick that 1 week, but then try to pick more resorts. But the broader you can be on any one of those parameters, the faster you'll get what you want, all right? So you put in the request, press boom, done. Done. Your trading is done, all right? Now, once the computer's just going to start searching. And so as soon as somebody at one of those 5 properties, the Marriott or the Westin or whatever, as soon as they deposit their week, the computer is going to line it up and boom, it's going to shoot the confirmation letter out to you. And you're going to be confirmed. You're going to be done. So one day you'll just wake up in your email. It'll be like, oh, you just got a week June 7th through the 14th at the Marriott Maui in a 2-bedroom. Boom, and you're done, and you're already confirmed. Now, when that reservation comes in, you do have 24 hours before they charge you to change it or cancel it or change your mind or whatever. Or like, I'll usually do it, and then all of a sudden my wife will remember we have, whatever, because I forget everything. So you'll have that, but you'll have 24 hours. You just call them up, or like sometimes they'll like. If I have my studio trading going, usually before, they would usually confirm me a studio. And then I would just call them up and I'd say, hey, I don't want that studio. I only want a 2-bedroom. And I would have the people on the phone place a request for only a 2-bedroom, which it looks like you can do online now. It looked a little different this last time. So I think you can do that now right off the bat. So that's awesome. All right. So now if you're a points only trader and you just... and you're in a point system, or like you just own Marriott points or whatever, it works the exact same. You just, no, I gotta go to the different one. It works the same thing. You just got to go like this. You just go units, and then it'll only show your points in there. So you just go, let's see. Okay, here's usage. Okay, so I think this is my points one. Destinations, yeah. Okay, so vacation exchange, and then you pick how many points you want to use. So you're like, oh, see their scale, how it's way less points during the off times of the year. So that's how their whole scaling system works. So you're like, okay, I want to use 4,000 points. I want to go to Hawaii during these dates, and your search didn't match any criteria. Of course, none's available. Search all destinations for 4,000 points. And we'll go here to Hawaii. Hawaii seems to be the most popular, so that's why I'm using it as an example. So look at right here, it has weeks for sale where you just do the points. All right, here's the Westin Princeville, 1,700 points, May 14th. So each point, but see, there's only like 3 available. So what you'd be better off doing is once you come on here, and 99% of the time with what you want is not available, then you just go over here and go place a request instead. And then just repeat the whole process. Okay, just go place a request with my points. And then you put place a request. I think you do the point system still too. And then you just go through the same system. So being a points owner actually, it alleviates you having to do the first step of picking a good week at the good time of the year. With points, they give you what's called unsurpassed trading ability, which means you can trade for anything, anytime. It just costs you more points. But you essentially eliminate step 1, because when your trading is going, you have a New Year's week in Hawaii type trading power. So you can trade for anything under that. It's just more points or less points if you're going, if it's ski season in Tahoe, it's 4,000 points. If it's spring mud season in Colorado, it's 2,000 points. So, just like at your home resort, it's less points in the off season. Same with interval. So with interval, if you have points, just go in there, do place a request or search for what you want and then place a request. But usually if you want anything good, just go straight to place a request, put it in there, boom, bam. The whole thing should take you less than 10 minutes and then your timeshare will be worth it. Otherwise, it can be a frustrating experience that you want to get rid of. And a lot of people that I talk to, they've already lost the 4, 10, 20 grand on the thing, and they would actually use it if they could get where they want to. So hopefully this video helps. Let me know if you have any questions or comments in the below. It helps the YouTube channel if you press the like button, please. And then let me know if there's any other topics you want me to speak about, and then I'll do one for RCI as well. Okay. All right. Everybody take care. God bless.